She's cool. She is.
Everybody says that.
Guys,
Everyone
And
thinks,
I'm like,
as
no.
anyone's concerned, all your moms are cool.
My mom is.
it's Ben Carr.
OMG.
Idolatry of sports.
Yay!
Chronology.
Yes.
What?
Put a space in between the word sport.
Beach ball and like.
No.
So, do you guys know what idolatry is?
No.
Yes.
Idol. Okay, what about idols?
Oh wait, we're idling sports tonight.
Kind of close.
Like when you like preach.
Yeah, we're exactly worshiping. So idolatry is when we're worshiping any like object or image or icon or something like that, as opposed to worshiping God. So it's like the worshiping of false idols, which you might remember is one of the 10 Commandments. Yeah, so it's when we're, I guess, instead of worshiping God like who we should be, we're worshiping or putting something else into his place as a position of worship. So one issue that kind of come up is sports, the idolatry of sports, or the worshiping of sports. And I mean, you guys might be thinking like, okay, well, I don't really like pray to sports, like I don't like at the end of my hard day, I don't go, oh, thank you so much, God. But at the same time, there's definitely aspects of sports idolatry in our lives, even if you don't always think about it. Like, I don't know about you guys, but like, being on any kind of a sports team, you could give a commitment of like a couple hours at least a week, and depending on how much it is, like, I don't know, my football team, I probably did like 3, which was, I might get like 15 minutes of prayer time in a day, a good night. So, if you kind of put into that perspective, like the time frame that we give for some things in our lives that sometimes aren't really as important or shouldn't be as important, I guess, or kind of way out of whack. Now, I guess on an even bigger level, I mean, like we have sports stars who get paid millions and millions of money just because we all want to see them. People are willing to pay huge amounts of money for like tickets to games to see people they want to see, and people will like, camp out at night 24 hours before and even longer to get tickets, as even Brad told us. I mean, when was the last time you spent 5 minutes waiting to talk to God, I guess? So I guess it's just another example of kind of how, like, to put into proportions, like something that should be the most important thing in our life, which is, our religion, God, Jesus. But yet we still, a lot of times, without even noticing it, kind of like put a lot more time and effort into things that aren't really as important, I guess. So then I guess what it comes down to after that is like, so on the basis, I guess, of a more individual basis, you could talk about sports idolatry in 2 aspects. So the first would be like the actual worshiping, or like if in your life you actually, could say, all right, well, sports is my #1 priority above everything, and that's actually like when you're kind of placing the importance of sports above actively, you want sports to be the #1 thing. And I think something we have to remember, or at least remind ourselves a lot, is that, sports is just one of many different aspects of our lives that all kind of circle around God. Like, they're all like parts. They don't make up who we are. They're just parts of us, or aspects of our life. But this is kind of like the first thing that you need to address, because if you're putting sports into kind of like a higher position in your life than everything else, you're never going to be able to, or you're never really going to want to give, allot your time properly, I guess, or allot like the importances. Like, that's never going to come up, because you're going to want to put sports first. So I guess the first thing we have to do is kind of think, okay, what are my priorities right now? And if they are kind of out of whack, then, that's a time where you kind of have to go sit down and, like, some praise, some self-reflection, just thinking. And if you need to, talk to someone like your parents, the priest, any of the crew members here, Brad. But, yeah, it's kind of something that you kind of have to figure out for yourself, like, how important is this to me? Because, for some people, they find going through sports. Like, sports could be an incredible thing, and this isn't to put it down, but you just have to make sure that you're not prioritizing sports above everything else, I guess. And we're focusing on sports right here, right now, but this can be extended to any other aspect of your life, friends, school, etc. Now, for a lot of us, though, it's not that we really, like, try to place the importance of sports at the top. It's just that, we have so many things going on at one time, it's hard to always find time for what's important, I guess. So it's almost kind of like a battle between all your different commitments. And I guess my advice for that is just, again, like, knowing what's the most important for you, having, like, your priorities, and then trying to use a bit of, like, instead, like knowing when you're gonna have time for things, trying to fit in a little bit of prayer like Brad just showed us. It doesn't take that long, so trying to like stick in some of that maybe in the morning and like before you go to bed at night kind of helps. And if you find like you're really, really overstressed and you just have too much going on, then that's the time you kind of have to sit down and go, okay, well maybe I can't do everything that I'm doing right now. Like, I'm gonna make cutbacks. But again, this is again related to you knowing what the most important thing in your life is, and wanting to work towards that, I guess. Yeah.